Greetings to all my tech heads out there in the KevTechify nation, and if you're new here, welcome. In this episode, we're going to look at verifying single-area OSPF version 2. We'll be discussing how to verify OSPF neighbors, how to verify OSPF protocol settings, how to verify the OSPF process information, and finally, how to verify the OSPF interface settings. This episode is part of my series on enterprise networking, security, and automation. I'm Kevin here at KevTechify. Let's get this adventure started. Once we get OSPF set up, once we get it all working how we want to on our network, we can go ahead and use some verification commands. Even if we don't have it set up, we can use this for troubleshooting. Two of the most common ones you'll probably use, not necessarily OSPF commands, but great troubleshooting commands, are show IP interface. That'll give you information about the interface and its IP settings, and then show IP. That gives us just overall settings for the entire device we're on. That makes sure we have the IP addresses set up, make sure we have them figured on the right interfaces, and a bunch of other information. Then we have a couple additional commands that we are looking at for OSPF, specifically for OSPF. Show IP OSPF neighbor, show IP protocol, show IP OSPF, and show IP OSPF interface. The show IP OSPF neighbor shows me what other OSPF neighbors I have on my network, what adjacencies I have. Right here, once again, we have our three routers set up. Router 1, Router 2, Router 3. We can see that Router 1 has neighbors of 3.3.3.3 and 2.2.2.2. Router 3, Router 2. We have full conversations happening between them. Our dead times, we have more than 30 seconds left. We start with 40. We work our way down. These are the addresses. These are the interfaces. When verifying your OSPF neighbors, two routers may not form adjacencies, and there's a couple reasons for that. First one is when you set up your IP addresses, those subnet masks did not match. If your subnet masks don't match, your network portions don't match correctly, they won't form the adjacency because they don't appear to be on the same network. Even though they are directly connected on the same network, you've configured them so they are on different networks. Second reason here is your OSPF version 2 hello or dead timers don't match. Once again, between two devices that are connected where they're trying to form that adjacency, your hello timer and your dead timer, they need to be the same values. If they're not, one's going to time out before the other, and it's not going to form that adjacency. A third reason here is for OSPF version 2, your network types don't match correctly. And finally, the fourth one here is that you have missing or incorrect OSPF version 2 network commands. You configured OSPF incorrectly somehow. You mistyped something in, you forgot a command. It just isn't correct, so it's not going to form that adjacency. To verify our OSPF protocol settings, we can use this show IP protocols command. Show IP protocols, it will list us information. It'll list us about all the protocols. We're concerned about the section here where it says routing protocol is OSPF. OSPF is the routing protocol. 10 is the process ID on our device. Looking through here, some pieces of information that are important for us for OSPF. It says our router ID is 1.1.1.1. We've explicitly set that in there. Down here we have our routing on interfaces where we've explicitly configured OSPF on. It gives us the three interfaces where we have OSPF running. We also have some other information here on the sources. We have the gateways, we have our administrative distances. We got this all from the show IP protocols command. To verify our OSPF process information, we use the show IP OSPF command. First thing it'll say here is our routing process. It'll give us what protocol we're running with the process ID. Then it'll also give us our router ID. You can verify that we have our router ID set. Once again, we explicitly set that. Gives us some information on when we booted it up. Then we come down here to our area backbone. This is that area 0 that we set. So this is OSPF specific information right here about our area 0. We can see that we have some information right here. We have that our SPF, our shortest path first algorithm, has been executed 4 times. The last time we did that was 11 minutes and 31.231 seconds ago was the last time we've executed it. So that can give you an idea. If you added some devices and you wanted to do a re-election, but your timer is out like 200 hours, that means that process hasn't happened. If you like this episode on verifying single-area OSPF2 and you get value out of it, and also depending upon what platform you're using, please click that like button, give a 5-star rating, leave a comment. Doing this supports the channel, which in turn helps me bring you more great content. Subscribe to my channel and click that notification bell. You can also visit my website at KevTechify.com for all of my details and how to get these episodes in video and podcast form. To verify interface settings, we use the show IP OSPF interface command, and then we specify what interface are we looking at. When we do that, we get the information. We get information about our interface. It says that we're up. So we've done basic configurations good. We get what our address is and our subnet mask. What area does it belong to for OSPF? We have what is the process ID of OSPF on this device? It's process ID of 10. Our router ID, once again, is 1.1.1.1.1. We've explicitly manually set that up, and we are in a point-to-point phase for our OSPF, and the connection of the network that is connected to this interface we're looking at. So we are looking at, once again, gig 000 on R10. The cost here is for calculating out our metric for OSPF is 10, and that's telling us that information right there. We can also see that we have a neighbor count is 1. Now, we are looking at specifically one interface. We're not looking at the entire router. The entire router has 2 neighbors, but this specific interface only has 1 because it's a point-to-point connection. And it will only support 2 devices, ourselves and the one we're connecting to. So our neighbor count is 1. Our adjacency neighbor count is 1, meaning they are running OSPF and we successfully have an adjacency. And then it gives us the router ID of our neighbor. And we got this all from the show IP OSPF interface command. To verify our interface settings, instead of specifying an interface, we can specify brief at the end, and it gives us a nice summary. It lists all the interfaces that have OSPF configured on them. It says what our process ID is. We are part of area 0. Then it tells us our IP address of those interfaces, the cost of the networks that are associated with them. Nice little summary of OSPF from our show IP OSPF interface brief command. It was my pleasure to provide you with this wonderful episode on verifying single-area OSPF2. If you like this episode, and if you got value out of it, and of course, depending upon what platform you're using, please click that like button, give a 5-star rating, leave a comment. This all helps me bring you more great content. Please take a minute to subscribe to my channel. All my social and contact information are on my website, KevTechify.com, and you can get all these episodes in video and podcast form. In the upper right is my playlist for my series on enterprise networking, security, and automation. In the bottom right is another video I linked just for you. Thank you so much for watching this episode of my series on enterprise networking, security, and automation. Once again, I'm Kevin. This is KevTechify. I'll see you next time for another great adventure.